We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Gindo's Spice of Life. It is the Gindo's hot maple syrup, and it is infused with fresh peppers. So, see, it's very, very runny, so it's probably a pure maple syrup. It doesn't specify, actually it does. So we've got the pure organic maple syrup. I'm not sure where it is sourced. They didn't get into that. Gindo's itself is out of Illinois. So I imagine it's from somewhere around there, but I could be wrong. We also have distilled vinegar, honey, chocolate scotch bonnet peppers, red habanero peppers, and the ghosties. This maple syrup has honey and vinegar for some reason. I don't know why. That's a position. They do also have a hot honey, incidentally. And I don't know if I'm going to do that because I have had 2 hot honeys that have vinegar, which Gindo's also has. Now, I trust Gindo's pretty extensively. He's a genius at flavor. But I've had 2 of the honeys that have had distilled vinegar that have specifically not been what I wanted. I've had 2 of them in a row, in fact. And they've been kind of misfires. So I am really kind of gun shy and leery about that hot honey. I may do it in 2024 at some point once I've got the backlog whittled down a little bit, but it's not something I'm chopping at the bit to try to get to or anything like that. So, all right, let's take a look here at the maple syrup here in our white spoon. You can see it pours more or less like water, which is generally what you have with pure maple syrups. Although this one obviously has vinegar in it as well, which is going to loosen it up somewhat as well. We don't see any pepper particulates in it. It looks just kind of like a light maple syrup, a light pure maple syrup. Some streaks of a little bit slightly darker brown, but overall it's just kind of this very, very sort of light beige color. I mean, it looks good. It is definitely, I mean, you can see it as well here. Let's see if we can get you a white background rather than the table here, so you can see it's in the bottle. And I guess there's no reason to stand on ceremony. We might as well just get on into it. There's a slight hint of peppers there. It's not particularly hot. Despite having 3 different peppers in it, it is, I would say, at this point I'm giving it a default 1. Peppers are not super prominent. I think they're kind of more there as heat. It is kind of what you would expect with a maple syrup that's a lighter, like the amber maple syrup. It definitely doesn't have the boldness of flavor that like a dark maple syrup would have. But also with the honey and the vinegar, it is kind of dialed down a little bit on the maple syrup side, which is kind of the danger I think you run into when you start tinkering with different additives. I don't know the philosophy behind putting honey into a maple syrup, unless it wasn't sweet enough to suit him, possibly, I guess. But then vinegar too. I'm not quite sure what this was trying to go with, but the end result is a pretty tasty, much lighter though, so not as intense in flavor, of a pure maple syrup. So We have here some blueberry pancakes. These are all buttered as well. So what we will do is dial these babies up. Now, this 5-ounce bottle of syrup is a bit on the expensive side. So it's kind of one of the other problems I have. I mean, maple syrup in general is kind of expensive, but, and maybe the honey and distilled vinegar are fillers that were less expensive. I don't know. I don't really want to second guess that. I simply don't know. But this gets to be pretty pricey. Like you can see, I got into it, and now just shooting this video, it is more than half gone. So this is $14 for these 5 ounces, and you know that's $3 an ounce. So we've already, you know, probably thrown $9 at this sort of thing. So it's why the maple syrups I try to be a little bit cautious of, just because like that adds up in a hurry. You know, trying to buy all that stuff. We're in a period of greedflation right now, so everything is going up. I'm sure all the raw ingredients for this went up as well. I mean, blueberry pancakes, maple syrup, it's classic. Flavor's excellent. There is I notice a note of astringency to this, which is not the worst thing in the world with sweet pancakes, which I forget which brand these are, but these are. I did tamp that down by throwing a little butter on them as well. These are hard to judge though, because the butter is actually kind of getting lost, as is the syrup to a degree. I'm getting heat. I'm definitely getting a lot of pancake flavor. But I don't like pancakes saturated with syrup, because then you stop having pancakes and you just have mush. They have a buttermilk pancake version that I actually like better. And I always forget that I like it better, because I get excited about seeing blueberries. I see blueberries and I get excited. And I keep forgetting the blueberry ones are nowhere near as good as the buttermilk ones are. It's not to say they're bad, they're just not as good. Usually I'll have bacon or sausage and eggs. If you look through some of my other maple syrup videos, but right now it's summer, it's hot, and the propensity is to fill up much faster during the summer months. So at least this year that seems to be the case. So we're just gonna go with pancakes, obviously. I am going to try to get this. I'm going to save this, though. Try to get it on some eggs and bacon. I think it'll be pretty good. I personally like the darker maple syrup better. So this one to me is, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a very okay maple syrup. After eating all that, I still would not put this above a default one, though. It is very, very tame as far as the hot maple syrups go. It is definitely on the probably lower side of that. And there's no, I can't pick out chocolate scotch bonnets or habaneros or ghosts. Or, like, those peppers really don't show up as far as flavor. It's just, there's a bit of a heat build to it. So I think in a way this might be an over-engineered hot maple syrup. But I mean, it's definitely enjoyable, like everything Gindo's does. It accounts for itself well there. I'll just put it that way. But as far as a hot maple syrup, generally, I can't see this at $2 and $3 an ounce. I just, to me, the value is not quite there for me personally. It's highly enjoyable. If this was an $8 or a $9 sauce, I think you'd have a lot better value to dollar ratio. But maybe it's a limited batch. I don't know. It's really kind of hard to track the pricing behind a lot of stuff these days. So I will just say that I probably wouldn't get it again at that price. I mean, I'm going to enjoy the bottle. I'm going to finish this out. No problem at all. It's for me solidly in the middle as far as hot maple syrups go. And I think I'll just kind of leave it at that. Definitely, this is, I mean, a pretty good introduction to hot maple syrups. You know, when kind of getting people with that idea, I think it's not a bad idea to start kind of dead center, and then you can go up in heat or up in quality, or you know, if you're looking for not as much heat, you can also go down as well. But solidly in the middle. I'll just leave it there. But there it is, the Gindo's hot maple syrup. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.